Hey guys, alright, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do an installation on a LRA 23 gallon auxiliary tank on our customer's GX470. One important thing to note about our installation today, this tank will not work with air suspension or KDSS equipped models. I have not done this installation on KDSS or air suspension equipped GX470s. Matter of fact, this is my first tank on a GX470. Now that said, I have done, I think 6 or 8 LRA tanks at this point, and we normally block out a full day for an experienced technician and a helper, or a good chunk of a day for 2 experienced technicians. So it is something that for your home installation, it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt. It just is. These things are not impossible to do yourself, but they do take a fair bit of time. There is some adjustment and tweaking and whatnot that has to be dealt with in the process. So we've got our hardware kit. We've got some hose, some more hose. What up, hose? We've got all our installation stuff set out here. We got our fuel pump. We have our gauge and switch. All of this is provided in the kit from LRA, and we got work to do. So, first thing we do, open the instructions, read them fully. Then we're going to prep the tank. So we're going to pull the fuel level sender, we're going to put a magnet in, we're going to put all our ports on, and then we got to do some cutting. So, let's get to work, get it done.
Click that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you would like more content, follow social media at CodyCrafted on Instagram.
Alright, so a couple of things I like to do. Go ahead and get this wire put on for the fuel level sender. She got power coming in and ground coming out. This 5-bolt pattern is not symmetrical, so in order to make it a lot easier to drop it back in and not mess up the gasket and all that stuff, I just take a little Sharpie line and put it on there. Make sure you use thread tape, sealant on all the fittings, and then also take all the hoses and go ahead and lay them out and just dummy up the connections so that you know you have all your pieces and approximately where they should go. The ones that go on the top of the tank, you can go ahead and put a clamp on those. And these big guys, this may not be the final arrangement on these. I have, on many of these, had to go back and trim some of these back, and there's actually been once or twice where I've had to go get a longer piece. So don't get ahead of yourself by trying to clamp this down, but you want to make sure everything is jiving. What I did find is that there's this one piece of 5/16. Depending upon where you mount the fuel pump, this may not be enough. You may need another piece of 5/16 hose. Of course, we're a shop, so we keep that kind of stuff laying around. I keep this, I think this is 30 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. I normally keep a couple sections of this. This is, I think this is a hydraulic hose. It's really kind of what this is. It is oil safe. This one is 1/2 inch. And they included this little 5/8 connector and this piece of 5/8. I don't really know why. I'm not seeing it in the instructions, but we'll get there. So next step, we're gonna follow the directions. It actually tells you to do all this first, but just in case you need more pieces, I like to go ahead and do all this first. We're gonna cut this guy off, and we're gonna cut this cross member out, and so you can't run a spare tire anymore. And then there's usually another mount for like this charcoal canister or something like that sometimes, but this guy comes off, and I'm pretty sure that's the pump for the airbags, helper bags. So that goes away because we got to fill this with gas. Alright, so what we've done is removed the filler neck and, according to the instructions, drilled a hole on the center line, basically, on this lower portion. It comes with a pipe thread fitting to be able to screw this vent hose back into, otherwise the tank won't fill. So what I've done is drilled a 1/2-inch hole, and then I took a bolt that would fit all the way through the threaded and then clamped it up to hold it in place. And now we're gonna get that welded. Alright, so we've got our filler neck welded and our hose pre-attached. You're not gonna be able to get in there very easily after the fact. I made sure to blow this all out with compressed air. Our pipe is cut to length per the instructions, and it's time to put this puppy together in order to get this in and out. So it kind of goes in like this. There we go, like this. And you gotta turn it, you gotta turn it, bring it up here. Turn it over this way. Which way does it go? There we go, like that. And it kind of keys up inside. Watch your eyes, because there's lots of crap falling down. Because of course you have an off-road vehicle. All right, the way it's sitting in there, I'm gonna get a stool. We'll give it the looking under the skirt perspective. It's always a crowd pleaser. So the neck is going to angle thusly, and all right, we are up through. That guy goes there. This guy goes here. Gotta come out and on that little stud. All right. All right, so we're going to put our nut back onto here. Camera covered in dust. It's great. Cameras love dust. Alright, so now the basic premise is this guy's in position. This guy is in position. You got to make sure that this rubber hose doesn't get kinked, because if it does, your aux tank won't fill, because you have to displace the air as it fills with fuel. There we go, looking good. Alright. Got our hardware back on. And that's locked back in. Okay. So we gotta connect this guy and this guy with this guy. So put a couple clamps on, hopefully where we can get to them. Based on this layout, I'm going to orient my clamps this way, right here, so hopefully we can get to them. And then I think on this side, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna slip this dude over here. Alright, so these should be good. This one we can get to from the top on this side if we have to. That one should be able to get with an extension. Okay, same thing, this guy, I'm gonna go this way with him. Our 5/8 or 16 millimeter hose. Well, I'm gonna cut that a little cleaner. If you don't have any hose choppers, I suggest you get a pair. There, all very nice. This one's gonna go this way. It goes into. All right, so we relocated our canister, and this is the factory canister and the factory little pigtail. that normally connects into our filler hose vent line. And I can tell you there's not much room in this vicinity. So I'm gonna take this and run it over the top of the customer's diff breather. And then it actually will go under and connect. So, yep. So we're gonna run it over the top of this vent breather so I can zip tie to this little tab here. And then it's gonna go under and connect right here. So we're gonna cut it off right about that length. And this one's gonna need a clamp. Come on. Woo! Love working overhead. Remember, if you're doing this in your driveway, all this crap's falling in your face. There we go. Oh, that clamp's not big enough anyway. Let's get a bigger clamp. Alright, and that little loop won't matter. Don't worry about that little guy. And as always, flush cut. Clamps. This has to be able to turn a little bit while we're putting it together in order to get it lined up on the tank. So be aware of that. This is gonna go right here. This is our fuel inlet port. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. So as you're pumping, the fuel flows downhill into your main tank because the auxiliary tank backflow is upstream of this inlet pipe. So if you were to overfill that tank, all it does is flow back into your auxiliary tank. Therefore, leaving the pump on is not that big of a deal. I've had people talk about wanting to add timers and all this other stuff, and it's just not necessary. And of course, flush cut. There's a special place in hell reserved for people who leave tails on zip ties. Like this one. The only time I leave tails on zip ties is when I know they're coming back off. That's tied up, that's a breather. Good there. Okay. I raised the tank up a minute ago and pre-marked these holes. I'm gonna drill those out all the way through. All right, we're going for 3/8, which is that step. We got ways to go here. So 1, 2, 3 more, 4 more, 3 more. Go in there, 1, 2, 3, 4 down from the bottom. About like that. Clean it up a little bit this way. Alright, that'll work. Okie dokie. And we're getting close. Sit rep. Okay, so we have our tank hung. We have everything plumbed in except for this vent line right here. Most of the hardware's in. You will see these 2 bolts are not installed yet. We have a bit of a problem. Someone drilled those out somewhere along the way for something. I don't know. These are supposed to be threaded for the factory hitch, and all 4 of the big bolts have been drilled out. Don't know why. So my solution is this. It's a nut on a stick. I'm gonna throw a little spray paint on this thing, and then we're gonna fish it into the frame through these holes right here, and try to at least get 1 of these big boys in here. The 2 is just because it's there. We'll be fine with 1. I'm using grade 10.9 hardware, so yeah. Anyway, so nut on a stick, as you can tell. So we're definitely gonna wanna go in this spot, right here, and gonna need a bend. All right. Ta-da! All right, I need some gloves. Right there. All right, perfect. Yahtzee. All right, so then we'll just take this piece and cut it off and be in good shape. Hey, welcome back. All right, so I have spared you guys the last 2.5 hours of fiddling. Got the tank mounted. See a little bit of, I'm gonna hit it with some more. I touched up some paint where I put some scratches on it, so but I'll hit it again. Customer had some lights, had to remount those. You can see not very well. Hold on, let me grab you a flashlight. Oh, that's much better ish. Okay, you can see we got a lot going on in here. We got our fuel pump mounted. We got our ground screw done there. We got our wiring ran. Rest of our plumbing is done. Made our fancy mounts. Got everything all buttoned up. And the only thing I've got left to do is lower the truck down. We've got to do the vent hose. Goes right on that brass barb. It's kind of up above my head and I can't reach it. Need to put the wheel liner back in. The little ring on there. Got my wiring ran hanging under here and already hooked up underneath. So, got that all done. I started this morning after doing some paperwork, probably around 9:30 or 10 o'clock. But I already did the prep yesterday to get everything ready to go. It is now 6:45. So, took a break for dinner and anyways, here I am. So, like I told you guys in the beginning, these are not for the faint of heart. They are a professional installation recommended. If you're not used to doing this kind of stuff, it's a bitch. My back hurts. I'm tired of working over my head, and I do these all the time. So, we like doing them. It's not a problem, but just for those of you at home saying that, oh yeah, we'll just call 2 buddies over and open up a 12-pack and order some pizza. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. These things are squeezed in there as tight as they can get them. But other than that, I'm about to drop this thing. We'll get her finished up. All right, so as you can tell, we are off the rack and we are back running. Sorry for the breeze out here. We have gone down and put a few gallons at a whopping $4.25 a gallon. It's mid to late May right now of 22, so just for reference. Gas is at an all-time high. It's great. So threw a few gallons in it to make sure the transfer tank works, the transfer pump works. Let me show you guys. Customer's gonna come pick it up here shortly. So since we've done the rear airbag delete, we're gonna do a filler panel here. The wiring is run in the console. Power is tapped off of the cigarette lighter so that it's key on. So he's got a little filler panel that's going to go in here and it's going to hold our pump and switch, or our gauge and switch assembly. So it'll sit nicely right there. Right about there. There's Rowan editing away.
Hey,
Rowan, say hi to future Rowan.
hi, future me.
Don't listen to that guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, so when this vehicle came in, it had about 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So we go key on. and so I had to fill it up. Basically have to fill it up for it to overflow in, and there's just enough. See, we're on low. Turn the AC off. There we go. This is fancy. I don't know how it works, but you guys can hear. I don't know if you could hear that, but there's a transfer pump is doing its thing. So all is right in the neighborhood. So if you think you might be interested in a Long Range America fuel tank or any of our other fuel systems that we offer, please hit us up. My email is Cody@CodyCrafted, or you can call the shop. Let me know if that's something we can take care of for you. There's a lot of benefits to this. We could do a whole video on why you might want to spend the money to put in a big fuel tank. It's not for everybody, but sure is nice to have when you want it or need it. All right, so we sure appreciate you checking out this video. The next one of these is going to be on a Jeep JK, so we're going to do kind of the same thing, just an overview. As you can tell, they are very involved. This isn't something you want to just jump in with a couple of buddies and do if you don't know what you're doing. The Jeep JK will be next. It's actually here on the premises. I don't know if you guys can see it over there. But we'll get that out and get this edited and get these videos out to you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It does help. And if you like what we do here, support us on Patreon. Really could, Rowan could use a raise. He works cheap. I need to pay him more. And y'all are just going to have to help. Thank you for watching. We sure appreciate it.